Hello, this is Nehemiah Pitts III with the City of Austin Community Technology and Telecommunications Commission. And I'm delighted to be here today in a special conversation with Dr. Rosa Maria Murillo, the Chief Executive Officer of Buen, Samaritano. And in our special conversation today, we're going to focus on digital inclusion and the ways that her organization has been able to navigate the pandemic and challenges with the digital divide to provide services to her clients, and then about her services in general. So with that, welcome, Dr. Murillo.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting us to share what we do. For the last 17 months, Buen has been engaged in scaling up our emergency response operations, which included going from serving 100 families to 700 families a week during that first week of closure in March, to, by the end of July, have distributed $7 million in cash assistance, pivoted our education, both adult and youth education services, to online, as well as our health literacy and health access programs to an online venue. So we've been busy, quite busy over the last few months of this pandemic.
Oh, I can imagine. And it sounds you've been busy and also quite successful, it seems, based on those numbers. That's really remarkable. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Our part of our success has also been our partners. In everything that we do, we seek partnerships with other nonprofit organizations, and that is what has allowed us to not just be able to serve these huge numbers of families and individuals, but also expand our reach through the amazing work of our partners.
That's wonderful. I'd like to give you an opportunity to delve into your partnerships, but I would be remiss if we didn't start by, of course, talking about the wonderful Buen program and anything you'd like to focus on as you've been obviously been able to do such great work in the community.
Thank you. Thank you. So one of the topics that, of course, we're going to be addressing is how do we close the digital divide? Right? We could not have maintained our engagement with students if we had not been able to provide access to technology. That includes computer, internet, but also connectivity, technical assistance, right? So it's a combination of those three that have come together for us and our clients to be able to maintain engagement. For example, our ability to do that allowed us to maintain 90% retention rate of our youth programs and families. Before COVID, so in the adult side, before COVID, we were serving 300 students, adult English learners. When COVID hit, and I attribute our ability to provide technology to our students, we were able to retain 50%. And 50% might seem low, but it's pretty high in an environment when people are having so much stress on top of not having technology.
That's very well put. I know that I've seen similar patterns in my experience with other organizations. Being able to retain half your clients in a time when people are really managing so many other things and priorities in their life really speaks to the value of the services that are being offered by your organization. And if you'd like to, I'd like to give you a chance to delve into that and those services in particular.
Definitely. So I'll give you, let me talk about a project that is actually funded by the city. It's through the Grant for Technology Opportunities program. And the beauty of that funding for us is that it allows us to work with youth over the summer and throughout the year, focusing on technology, communications, bringing those two together to create projects such as documentaries, I knew I was going to forget the word for it when, create news about their communities. But the other piece that comes with that project is that it allows us to engage with the parents because of the technology. So when we provide iPads and internet or laptops to the youth, that resource is also families are also able to use that, especially the hotspots. 10 up to 10 people in the family can access the internet because of that hotspot, helping families to reach their doctor, telemedicine, engage in telemedicine, helping families to apply for jobs, helping families those that can afford at this time to pay their bills online. And so it's been really a great experience of being able to engage with youth, teaching them about technology and creating projects, but also engaging and providing support to their families. Critical to that programming is also teaching computer literacy, right? So many parents, this could be the first time that they're going into a portal to find out information. This is the first time that they might venture out to look at what's happening with their students at school. And so we teach them how to access the AISD portal, right? So that they can see what's happening with their students and also communicate with the school. So this project through the Grant Technology Outreach Opportunity Program, while the focus is on summer technology and STEM opportunities for youth, also allows us to provide comprehensive services and narrow the digital divide for the families that we serve.
That's wonderful. I really appreciate that, and certainly since our commission helps to administer the Grant for Technology Opportunities, would love to say that you're an esteemed recipient of that award and very well deserving. And as you were describing some of the nuances of your program, allowing your students to be able to capture lived experiences and then to be able to leverage those stories. You also described something which was very important as I've seen it, the generational impact of technology within the home. And that is very profound. I'd like to give you a chance to talk more about that.
Definitely. In all that we do in terms of programming with youth, as well as in our adult workforce development, we integrate families. So we know that if a mother or a caretaker or father is learning about computer, is becoming engaging in computer literacy activities with us, that is only strengthening not just them, but their children, right? Because they're also extenders for us. So if a caretaker is able to show their child how to access an internet site or a portal so that they can access their homework, then the stress in that family decreases by, I'm sure, a huge percentage, because a lot of the stress that we are seeing with the families as we're engaging with them, right? So it's not enough that we're giving them laptops, providing access to laptop, internet, but it's to that connectivity, right? If they don't know how to use it, then that actually creates more stress for them. So teaching computer literacy is critical for both the young people we serve, as well as their parents and people that are taking care of them. We also incorporate parent workshops. So at the same time that we are teaching children about security, technology security, and internet security, we're teaching parents about technology security and internet security and how to protect their children from, accidentally going into websites that are not productive or safe for them.
That's outstanding. I know it's really been a wonderful program in the midst of unparalleled challenges and things we've had to deal with here at the city. I'd
Yes.
like to give you a chance to talk about how we've had to manage the roller coaster of changing threat levels and then being somewhat brought back towards in-person and or hybrid meetings, and then also being required to maintain an online presence. Would you mind discussing how your organization has managed that change and different things, whether it's through mandates from the state or in changes in the dynamics of COVID-19 locally?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let me just add one more thing to the previous questions. Engaging the older adults in the lives of the youth we serve. We also provide just regular weekly parent workshops, older adults workshops, not just focusing on technology, but on health literacy, on other workforce development resources. So it's pretty comprehensive in terms of how we serve the youth and older adults. The hybrid, you're right, it's a roller coaster. At the beginning, people were hesitant to engage with us over the internet for multiple reasons, right? Lack of access or lack of knowledge of how to do it. And then eventually we got into a rhythm, and we're engaging with both children and parents, and learning how to engage with people via internet. That is a very intimate experience, right? Because you actually get to be in the homes of people, and that's something that we don't constantly have awareness about. And then the other piece is that eventually parents and children started to get tired. Like, we, despite all the engagement strategies that we had to communicate online, we saw that children were getting tired. And that was right around the time when we opened up, right? And so during the summer, actually this past summer, through the GTOPS, as well as other funding that allows us to expand our GTOP services, we brought kids in person for 2 weeks. And oh my God, it was amazing. We had missed out so much by not having them in person, and then to have to scale back, right? So right as we had finished the second week of summer, that's when that's about the time that we started to go into a stage 5 for the city. So we had to come back to online, and in that process, we lost some families. It's like, and it could have been for multiple reasons, right? They might have had job losses. They might have had other COVID related situations, and then on top of that, dealing with their kids going back to school in person. So there were lots of social, emotional experiences going on in families, and then we had to have a more personal connection with them than we had at the time, even though we were having a personal connection. So what we started to do was make personal phone calls, and having phone calls, conversations to understand why are we, the reasons for losing them in our virtual classrooms. And some, their overall response to us was they were tired. The kids were tired. They didn't want to engage in that way, and they were going to give their kids a break. What we're seeing now, so then what we said, we understand that, know that we're going to have that line open always for your child. And so what we're seeing now is that as children are going back to school and they're having some challenges learning, because you know this, right? The learning loss or the opportunities for gaining knowledge have negatively affected many of the youth that we serve. So right now, as the parents are seeing that their children are needing reinforcement, they're starting to come back and engage with us through our tutoring services, but also One piece that I can't stress enough is that as I am talking with the child, well, not me, the child development coordinators, as they're talking with the child and they're talking about math concepts or science concepts, in between, they're listening to stories of the children, of what they're experiencing at home, the loss of a grandparent, the loss of a job for a parent, things that are painful for many of these children that oftentimes they don't have opportunities to talk to anybody else. They talk about those things with us. And so that is the other part of how this internet, this online communication becomes extremely intimate and building relationships with the children that we're serving.
That's wonderful. I know that it's so invaluable, to the community and to be able to fill that gap. When you described the roller coaster and, the, if you will, video conference or Zoom fatigue, the role that was playing and the need for families to give their kids a break, it can't be appreciated enough how the outreach that your organization engaged in to really see what was going on, to understand what the challenges were, and then therefore what the needs were of your constituents, your clients, really made a difference. I'd like to ask you, what are some of the examples of feedback you've gotten about your programs from those clients and your ability to adapt and to work with their needs?
Yeah, definitely. The overarching feedback that I see across the parents' comments to us is that they didn't think this would work, right? They didn't think it would work. They didn't think their kids would be engaged. They didn't think their kids would advance. Because, we're so used to in-person relationships and in-person methodologies. So they didn't think those things can happen, but as they saw their children flourish and engage, they themselves were bought in, and actually they started participating. We have Friday clubs where we teach children how to cook, how to make ice cream or cakes, right? And their parents are right there with them. So we're using, and GTOPS has allowed us to do this, right? We're using technology. We're using STEM concepts to teach kids how to make ice cream or, healthy meals, and sometimes not so healthy meals like ice cream. And their parents are right there also engaged. So it's brought the parents into the Zoom world with their children.
That's wonderful, and that's truly another example of that multi-generational intersection and the way that your organization has helped to facilitate that.
Yeah, and to see the parents like willingly, because we have strategies to purposely engage them, right? And then these other strategies where we're engaging with children, to see the parents actually show up in the Zoom box or the camera and start engaging with us and their children is just very powerful.
It is. I can imagine it, and it's really something that deserves calling out as a unique thing about Buen, and that you deserve credit for it as an organizational leader.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I would like to ask you, certainly, for opportunities for leaders, whether it's at the state level, the city, anything that we can do to help make things better for you.
Yeah. So, and you're doing this, right? Support us in narrowing the digital divide. And so prior to COVID, the digital divide was in many ways contributing more to the haves and have-nots, right? Because having access to technology and the internet, and this, gives you access to information, and information is power. And information levels, access to it also levels the playing field. And so during these challenging times when the people that didn't have access to it, maybe just had a phone per family, their ability to access services, information, connections was widened. And so for us, it was critical that we, wherever we could request funding to that would allow us to pay for and buy computers, even though there are partners that would provide those to us at no cost. We built an inventory of laptops, Chromebooks, iPads, all kind diverse tools to be able to support families. And also to have flexibility with, okay, we're giving you a laptop and internet access. And by the way, it's for this intended purpose, this intended program. However, we have flexibility for you to be able to access your doctor, your job seeking, whatever it is that you need to access right now through technology. Some of them, their work, right? And whatever you need, you can use this as well. So it's very important to have that flexibility, that we have accountability for state and local funding to do what we said we were going to do, and then some flexibility that allows us to narrow that digital divide, which is at this point extremely critical. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir.
Well, you amen, first off, but at the same time, I'll say this, hearing your voice and your perspective is really what makes this conversation valuable to me, and I think the community at large. And as the chair of the commission, we want to maintain that open ear. We want to remain in touch with the community and have a pulse on your concerns and how we can adapt and or inspire others to help you do what you need to do. And so that's the role that we see ourselves playing. And if we can do that in any capacity by listening, that in my estimation, that's the very least that we can do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I did want to ask you a couple more things, or give you an opportunity, since we have a little bit more time, to share anything else you'd like to about your challenges and or different things with the program that you'd like to share with the community as a whole.
This is for us is a challenge and a calling, and that is through technology ensuring equity and social justice. And that is a dialogue that up until now had not been so upfront for many individuals, right? That we tend to talk about equity and social justice outside of technology. However, technology is such a critical component right now of our work in ensuring equity and social justice. Our challenges are about how do we remain engaged with families and individuals in a hybrid world, right? Because it'll never be the same again. Right. It will never ever be the same again, and finding different strategies to engage both through technology and in a hybrid world. For us, bottom line with youth is we are on a path to give this nation 21st century youth that will know how to engage in their world, and whether they're using in-person strategies or through technology. That's it for us as we work with youth and STEM. And I gotta tell you again, GTOP has allowed El Buen to reinforce that path, and we're very, very appreciative of that.
Well, thank you for that. We're certainly very appreciative of all that you're doing in the community and the hard work that you've done up to this point. But not only that, what we can see is the future for El Buen. Are there any particular programs or things that El Buen is involved in right now that you'd like to talk about or to promote that you're involved in for the future?
Yes, definitely. So we are building working with adults around English learners, of course, but we're also doing workforce training sessions for individuals that that are interested in furthering their education or their professional goals. We provide online training, and for those again that have issues with the access issues to technology on the internet, we provide those resources for them. We also have a collaboration with Lone Star Circle of Care to work together to improve the health outcomes of the patients that come to Lone Star Circle of Care, which is a healthcare clinic. As you know, many of them come with with additional social determinants of health needs that are actually just as, if not more, critical to improve health for the health and well-being of individuals. So that's one project that we're very invested in right now. We're also very engaged in the increasing the vaccine rates in Austin Travis County. So up until now, we have facilitated the vaccination of over 1,300 individuals, and now having even more. Well, here's another way that we use technology. So this next phase of getting people vaccinated, these are the people that, independent of what we did in the past to get them access to the vaccine, had not been ready for it, right? And so it will require more personal trust engagement with them, but it'll also require the ability for us to have the technology to be connected with them and be pushing messages, right? As we are assessing their readiness to get the vaccine, we're pushing through text or whatever way that we can, using technology, staying connected with them. And that has been helping us to recruit people to come in to get vaccinated. That connection, that personal connection to them through technology. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Right. I would have never thought that I'd be talking about personal intimacy and technology around education and vaccines, but it is true.
Well, I tell you what, it's built on a foundation clearly of your community presence and the relationships you have with the families, which again, I want to give you a round of applause for your leadership and Buen and your success within the community and affecting so many, to then be able to carry even further to affect public health and the community at large, beyond just workforce readiness, beyond just education, but public health and safety. So I really think that we should tip our hats to you as a community. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank you so much for your hard work. We're about to close today. Was there anything else you'd like to share with the community before we go?
I just want to thank you and thank the city of Austin for the tremendous amount of support that they have provided to us. Right. So the work that we do, the mission that we're here to serve, it is possible by so many groups like the city who have trusted us with their resources and their funding to join with them and in this unprecedented times of pandemic.
Well, thank you for that, Dr. Murillo. I know, again, we can't thank you enough for all you do. I want to thank you so much for you and for Buen being part of this conversation today and for joining us.
Thank you.